Hello guys, how you all doing? My name is Rafael and welcome to today's video. Today I have another legendary build for you. This time it's not a solo build. It's one of those builds that the only thing you care about is doing as much damage as possible, and it is a weapon build. I feel like I've showcased a lot of skill builds, a lot of explosive builds, a lot of drone slash turret builds, but when it comes to just pure DPS builds with your weapon, I haven't showcased any that could be used in group play. Most of my striker builds, most of my chameleon builds, most of my legendary builds in total that revolve around weapon damage work best when you play all by yourself and not really when you play in a group. However, the last couple of streams I've been doing a lot of legendary runs, and I figured out that most people that you matchmake with will either play as a skill build or as a tank build. So there was a big need for healers and for just good red DPS builds that if something goes wrong and the enemies get too close to your skill builds, to your skill players, or your healer or whatever, you're gonna have that guy who can just aim at a guy and instantly melt him, right? So I decided to put a build together, and this is the build. Of course, you watch some gameplay. Of course, this isn't a new build. This isn't something that I've discovered. People have been running with this for a very, very long time. Of course, this isn't a new build, as you can already tell. It's just 4 striker pieces, Fenris AB chest piece, and the Coyote mask. However, even though this build could have probably be put together for the very first time, like 6 months ago when the striker got reworked, it isn't a build I see a lot of people running on legendaries. And as you watched from the gameplay in the background earlier, it can literally melt even Changas. You don't need other people to shoot at Changa. It can just be you, and you can still take that big boy down without having to worry about anything, as long as you're not getting shot, of course. This build has close to zero survivability, and I'm saying close to zero survivability because we have elite survivability. We have a 10% armor on kill, which comes from the gunner specialization, and we also have the fixed drone, which at first sounds like really fixed drone, how much it will repair your armor without actually running skill repairs and some skill tiers and things like that. Well, it actually does quite decent job if you take into consideration that there is not a single skill tier in this build. So it's something that I've tried, I think, in a legendary run a couple of days ago in one of my live streams, because we needed some extra heals. And at least me personally, because the other guys were running some sort of a hybrid build with some okay heals and some okay skill damage. So I was like, okay, I can bring the weapon damage, but I also gonna need something to keep me up because we have no tank, we have no healer. Let's get a fixer drone in there, and it kind of works. So that's all that we have when it comes to survivability. Then we have, of course, the 4-piece striker, which doesn't include the chest piece, and I want to talk a little bit about that. It is true that if you get the striker chest piece, you will be hitting harder. However, in order to start hitting as hard as you will hit with this build over here, you will need to spend at least 2 extra magazines. What I mean by that, let me actually show you. So having obliterated on your chest piece and if you say B piece actually means that you will reach your max DPS much faster. The max DPS for this build over here is somewhere around 1.3 million when it comes to body shots and on enemies that have health. Let me actually show you the exact numbers. And let's count how many magazines I'm gonna need to get there, right? So that's 1 magazine. 2 magazines. 3 magazines we're hitting for 1358. And as you can see, it doesn't get higher than that. 1358. So that's our cap. That's how hard we can hit on body shots. 1,358,000, which is not bad. That took us 3 magazines, right? Now, if we change to the striker chest piece, let me show you the stats. 49% critical hit chance, 127% critical hit damage, right? If we change to this build over here, which change the chest piece and get a Fenris AB piece on the holster, you see our stats are exactly the same. Nothing changed, right? Maybe 1 or 2%, but for the most part, it's exactly the same. Now, let me make sure all my striker stacks are gone. There we go. So let's count how many magazines it will take this time, not to reach our max amount of DPS, But to reach the numbers we're getting earlier at 3 magazines earlier, we're getting 1,358,000. So let's see here now. That's one. That's two. That's three. That's four. 5. At the end of the 5th magazine, we reach the same damage numbers we were already getting with 3 magazines on the other build. So at max stacks, obviously, you're hitting harder. You're hitting for like 300k more. However, as you just saw, it takes us 2 extra magazines to reach that 1,358,000 that with this build over here, we get in 3. So what I wanted to achieve with this build is pretty much make sure that I can have pretty high damage as soon as possible. And that's why I didn't get the striker chest piece that would give me that 100 extra stacks. Even though overall at the end of the day it will offer me higher damage, so to say, I felt like the situations where I will be able to get to that 6th magazine, so to say, to start hitting harder than I would hit with this build that I'm wearing right now would be super rare, and at the end of the day it wouldn't be worth it. Because as I said, with this build over here, I want to make sure that in case something goes wrong, in case we get flagged, in case my teammates are in trouble, in case we just need a lot of DPS because something went wrong and we're getting rushed, I have enough damage to actually guarantee the survivability of my group. And this felt like it was a better option. Then moving on, we have the Coyote Mask, right? Something very important here. The Coyote Mask, in case you see someone else is already running it, you want to get rid of it. If you see that nobody else is running it, then you keep it on your build. We're going to get 15% weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage, and another 12% critical hit damage gear mode. And of course, you know that talent close range will get 25% extra critical hit damage. 15 to 25 meters will get 10% critical hit damage, 10% critical hit chance. As you can see, we're already sitting at 49% critical hit chance. So even if we don't proc that extra 10% critical hit chance from the Coyote Mask, we are already sitting at a very good percentage. If we do proc it, then we're almost to the cap. We're at 59% when the cap is 60. 127% critical hit damage already on our build. If we proc the close range critical hit damage, we reach more than 150% critical hit damage. And of course, we also have on our weapon Strength. I went with Strength because it offers more damage to my build than Optimist would. Let me actually show that to you. As we said earlier, with Strength, I'm hitting for 1,358,000 when we have full stacks on Striker and Obliterate. Change it to Optimist. As you can see, we're not reaching even 1.3 million here. So Strength for this build is better. Don't want Optimist, we want Strength. When it comes to the weapon ones, 5% critical hit chance, 20 rounds, 5% critical hit, 5% critical hit chance. Then of course, if you look at the pieces, Striker backpack, weapon damage, critical hit chance, gloves, weapon damage, hit damage, knee pads, weapon damage, critical hit, holster, weapon damage, critical hit damage, chest piece, weapon damage, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and that's it pretty much. So yeah, that's it pretty much, guys. Apologies for my microphone cutting off. The rest of the video is even worse than it was until now, but in all honesty, I think we're done with the build. I don't think I need to mention anything else. As I said, nothing really new here, but a reminder that red builds on legendary are still very, very important and very, very valuable, because as time goes by, I see less and less people using them in legendary groups. And even though skill builds are great, tank builds are great, support builds are great, you also kind of need a guy in your group with enough weapon damage to kill anything that gets close enough to you. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. In case you enjoyed the video, please make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more content. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye bye.